Hey there and welcome to the Herbal Moon Goddess podcast. My name's Kyra and today I'm going to share with you all about moon water, how to make it, how to use it, what it is. We're going to be covering everything that you need to know about moon water. So, wow, moon water. One of my most popular posts on Instagram of all time is this really rough kind of like a hand-drawn diagram of like how to make moon water. And like it gets reposted all the time. It's like one of those sort of posts that just went viral and it just keeps showing up everywhere on the internet. And it keeps coming up and I get tagged in it and it's like, oh my God, like I drew this like ages ago and like people are still sharing it. So obviously there are people out there who are super curious about moon water and are really fascinated by it and they want to make it. And yes, so I guess this this episode is really just elaborating on that post. So moon water. Moon water is pretty much just water that has been charged underneath the energy of the moon. So generally speaking, it's really quite easy to make and there is so many uses for it. So to make it, like basically you're just putting out like a cup or a jar or something, a bowl of water underneath the full moon. That's the real basics of it, okay? It doesn't have to get more complicated than that. However, if you want to kind of add a bit more ritual to it and make it a bit more sacred, intentional, then what you can do is carefully choose a vessel. So I have like a few kind of jars that are a nice shape and a nice size, and I kind of, set those aside for special purposes such as making moon water. So there might be some sort of sacred vessel that you have. It like honestly, like I said, I have jars. I have jars that used to be coffee jars and like all sorts of different jars. So it doesn't have to be like anything too special, but it just has to feel sacred to you, okay? Find something that feels sacred and then cleanse it. A lot of people like to smoke cleanse it, so you can get your sage or whatever herb bundle that you have and smoke it, smoke the jar out or your vessel out, or you can cleanse it by other ways such as sound, clapping. Salt is also quite effective. Like just put some salt in there and then tip the salt out again before you put the water in there. There's so many different ways that you can cleanse things. Selenite is also a fantastic cleanser as well. Wave a bit of selenite in there, in your jar, in your bowl, whatever, before you're putting the water in. Okay, so you've got your cleansed vessel. Next step is to add water. Now you want to use, I guess, the purest water that you have access to, particularly if you're going to be consuming your moon water. If you intend to consume it at all, then make sure you're using water that's drinkable. So depending on where you are, that might be filtered water, tap water is fine, or it might be bottled water. So depending on where you are, just choosing the purest water that you have available. Rainwater is also fantastic if it's safe for you to drink rainwater in your region too. So you get that water into your vessel. You can hold your vessel, your water, and charge it with your hands. Like focus on that intention that you want to put into that moon water. So if you're making this moon water for a particular purpose, for a particular reason, so perhaps there's something that you're trying to manifest on the full moon or something that you want to release or some other sort of intention, charge that into your moon water as well. Because when you're using that moon water after it's been charged, you can keep going back to that intention that you charged your moon water with. So charge it with your hands. So then you can add in some optional extras. So this will depend on, I guess, whether you're going to be consuming it or whatever you're using your moon water for. Popular extras to include crystals. If you are going to be consuming your moon water, I advise against putting in crystals apart from quartz, any of the quartzes, rose quartz, clear quartz, also amethyst, citrine, they can go in water. Apart from that, just checking to see whether your crystal is safe to put in water. Not all crystals are. Some can be a bit soluble, some can get broken in water. So be really mindful if you are going to put crystals in there. You can always just put, like, if you're using a jar or something else that has a lid, put the crystal on top so it's not directly in contact with the water, and that will still help charge the moon water even though it's on direct contact. But again, you can use your crystals with a specific intention in mind. So for example, if your intention's to do maybe with self-love, you can add in some rose quartz. Or if your intention with this moon water, like you're going to be using it in like prosperity spells, then putting in some citrine can really help with that. So choosing your crystals mindfully if that's something you want to add in. And then another extra that I also like to use personally is herbs. Sometimes I'll use fresh herbs from my garden, or I might use some dried herbs depending on what I have and what my intentions are. And I might actually put this just like in a separate smaller jar with like my little herbal infused moon water that I'll probably, most of the time, I just drink that on the night of the full moon. I'll let it charge for an hour and then I'll come back and drink it. Or you can leave it there overnight and drink it the next morning. If you are using those herbs though in the moon water to be consumed, just make sure you consume it within say 24 hours of making it, because you don't want it to, you know, start fermenting and going all gross and ick. So yeah, you can put in some herbs, put in some crystals, consider safety always. And yeah, so once you've got your water, you've got your intentions in it, you've got those optional extras, herbs, crystals, then put it underneath the light of the full moon. So generally speaking, I charge my moon water on the full moon, sometimes the night before or after, depending on like the weather or if I forget or whatever. So like it doesn't have to be strictly on the night of the full moon. You're free to, you know, still use that full moon energy when the moon is not quite full. I've seen other witches talk about charging moon water under like the new moon and things like that. And you can absolutely, if you're wanting to harness the particular energy of a moon phase. So for example, the new moon is perfect for new beginnings. So you could do that. It is kind of interesting to note though that if you're charging it underneath the moon isn't in the sky at nighttime, it's like out during the day. So you might want to have a think about that, about whether you actually charge that moon water under the sun and the moon, like out in the daytime, if new moon water is something, yeah, that you're thinking about. So yeah, I leave my moon water, I just generally leave it there all night. I'll put it out like, you know, as the moon's rising, and then when I wake up in the morning, I'll collect it and either bring it back inside, or if I've got it inside, take it away from the windowsills before the sun gets to it. I feel like when the sun hits it, it kind of like it balances out that energy from the moon. So you want to keep your moon water somewhere in a dark spot where it's not going to get touched by the sunlight. If you're going to be consuming it and you don't have the herbs and stuff in it, you can keep it in the fridge for a few days as well, and yeah, consume it after like 2 or 3 days, depending on your own personal standards there. Yeah, so that's pretty much how I make moon water. I think I've covered everything there. So the next thing that I wanted to share with you is how exactly do you use moon water? So you've gone to all this effort to make this highly intentional moon water. You've taken it out underneath the full moon and let it charge like for a few hours or all night. Now what do you do? So there's a few different ways that I love to use moon water. So one of my favorite ways, and this is like, probably what I use most of my moon water for, is to water my indoor plants. I have a lot of indoor plants, so they might just get like a bit of this special moon water, once a month at the full moon. But I find it helps, it's like that intention, like I'm just putting a bit of extra love into my plants. So I don't know if it, scientifically is proven to help your houseplants grow. But for me, I feel like it makes my plants a bit happier. So try that. If you've got houseplants, give some moon water to your houseplants. Other things that you can do with moon water is maybe add some to a bath. If you're having a full moon ritual bath, it can be really special to add a bit of moon water in there. You can, of course, drink your moon water. I've seen people who just have sips of it, for the few days after the full moon, or they might actually add some into their morning beverage, their coffee or cacao or something like that the day after the full moon. You can make a tea with it. It's totally really up to you. But of course, if you're consuming, safety, just make sure you're not putting anything in your moon water that's potentially not safe for you to consume. And as I've said, if you're going to leave it to charge underneath the full moon, consume it within a few days of making it, of course. So another way that I love to use moon water is by adding it to cleansing sprays. If you're someone who doesn't like using smudge sticks or smoke bundles, or you can't have smoke in your house for whatever reason, then making a smudge spray or like a cleansing spray can be a really fun alternative. And so I use my moon water in that, and often I might bring that to the boil with a bit of dried sage or whatever other herbs I'm using, sometimes lavender or rosemary. And you make a bit of a cup of tea with your moon water. You can add in some essential oils, add in something to preserve it as well, like alcohol of some sort, or like a vodka or something like that. Don't put beer or something in there. Something to preserve it. You need something in there to preserve it. And there you go. There you've got your own cleansing spray, smokeless cleansing spray. And that's really fun to use as well, especially when you're putting intentions into it. You can add crystals into that as well to use. It's really fun to make your own sprays. So that's probably one of my most fun ways that I use my moon water. So I hope this episode has given you lots of information about what exactly moon water is and how to use it. I'd love to know if you've made moon water before and how you use it. Feel free to let me know on Instagram or Facebook. You'll find me at Herbal Moon Goddess. And I'd love to know. Start the conversation. Let's chat about moon water. If you'd like to know more about using the moon's energy to manifest your dreams, your goals, your desires, check out my book, Moon Manifesting, which is available worldwide on Amazon. It's your ultimate guide to harnessing the energy of every moon phase through all the zodiac signs, as well as harnessing the energy of rare lunar events such as eclipses and blue moons. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Herbal Moon Goddess podcast today, and I'll chat to you on the next episode. Bye for now.